everybody. It's Craig from Doc Sports, and we're back with Doc's Daily Hump Day Wednesday, the 19th of March, and this is the calm before the storm for sure. Tonight, the second of the play-in tournament, or the play-in games to go today, the two games. One was a good game yesterday, and boy, was I wrong on the other game. But we've got two play-in games tonight, and then tomorrow, it starts for real. Starts at noon. By this time tomorrow, we'll already be, 3 games in, right, Raphael? So it's like, or at least partly way through.
About 2 games in.
Yeah, it's going to be a great day tomorrow. I hope you're off of work, or you're at least able to watch as you go. Make sure, our production guy, make sure you put in the comments section the link to our playlist for all the March Madness videos. We covered all the games. And we'll be covering all the games, so make sure you check out that playlist, go through. We I think 9 or 10 of our experts covered them all, so make sure you check that out if you want to have some info on those games. And then don't forget, DocSports.com/free60. Free 60 get you $60 account to try us out, including some absolute monsters. And we'll talk about that here in a second. But get in on that. You can use that whoever you want. $149 is the March Madness pass. So if you go under College Hoops, you can use that, of course, as existing, or if you're a new customer, so make sure you check that out. Okay. Nick, tell us how you did yesterday and what you got for tonight.
Yeah, yesterday we smacked. I actually had North Carolina there, Craig, minus 4.5. They blew them out. Knew the boys were going to come out ready to go, but still staying calm, cool, and collective here with the play-in games. I have another 2-unit here tonight. That game is between Xavier and Texas. And then also tonight I have a 7-unit NBA prop. Been very selective with my props here in the NBA. So we found a mismatch that I could not go against. So had to do it as a top play. We got a 7-unit that goes out at 7 p.m. Eastern Standard Time tonight, Craig.
Yeah, just the PSA. I'm in Cincinnati. I'm going to Dayton to watch the game tonight. And if people don't know, I'm a Bearcat fan. So Xavier is like, the people do this. I'm like, down, thumbs down. So I'm going up to watch both games tonight. It's a great environment. I haven't been in a few years, so I'm glad I could clear things to be able to go. Raphael, what do you have how'd you do last night, and what do you have for tonight?
Well, first off, Xavier, the X-Men have won 20 straight games as a favorite. So and I can't believe that number moved all the way up to 3.5 over at DraftKings. So that's going to be very interesting. I had a nice winner last night, plus $600 in the NHL, going back with another premium play on the NHL tonight. There's only 2 games in NHL, so it wasn't really hard to handicapping. When I was done handicapping, picked my play, went back to bed last night. So I was probably the only guy that didn't watch not 0 minutes of the San Diego State North Carolina game, because the wife and cardiologist made me take a sleeping pill last night and to get some rest. So I was sleeping while that game was going, but I guess I didn't really miss that much in that game because I heard it was over by halftime. So at least I was able to get up early to watch my Cubs lose. But hey, we're still undefeated in the United States.
It's like, that's a good way to look at it. All right, so I had a terrible day yesterday. I mean, I knew when I was so wrong, when I probably put North Carolina into the Final Four the way I was trashing them yesterday, and they came out and showed me up. But it was all small plays yesterday, kind of small play card today. But tomorrow is the day I'm getting down with it, as they say. 8-unit game of the year in college hoops. I really like a play tomorrow evening, and then a 7-unit top total on Friday, and those will be in 3-packs. So if you like more than one play, and you don't just like hammering one play, I'll have a couple plays, including this is my first parlay of the year. I got a little small parlay on Friday as well. It's like, it's one of those you just sprinkle a little, but there's 2 games I really like, and I think they could pay off as underdogs, by the way, because when I parlay, I want I'm hoping to be right twice and get 4 or 5 to 1 on my money on the 2-team parlay. So make sure you join in. And whichever capper you choose, it's $149 for March Madness all the way through the national championship game, which is believe it or not, 18 days from now, I believe, is the national championship game. So this tournament, even though it's over 3 weekends, it goes very fast, and it's going to be tons of action. So let's talk NBA, because it's a pretty big card in the NBA. Then we'll talk some college hoops. Interesting, the NIT turnouts yesterday, so hopefully maybe we can turn some of that around for today. Nick, why don't you kick us off in the NBA? What do you like?
Yeah, let's go back to my Chicago Bulls. They head to Arizona to play the Phoenix Suns. Suns -6.5 in this one. Total sitting at 234.5. Both teams coming into this game off wins in their last performance. The Bulls, they beat the Utah Jazz on the road, 111-97 in that one, while the Suns, they put a beat down at home against the Toronto Raptors. The Bulls in their last 10 games, they're 6-4 here, while the Suns, they play their best basketball at home, 20-13. But this Bulls team still sitting in second right now in the NBA in pace of play, which leads to points in transition. Bradley Beal and Grayson Allen will be out in this game tonight for the Suns. I really like the way the Bulls are competing as of late. I would take the Bulls with the points in my back pocket here tonight against the Phoenix Suns, +6.5 tonight, Craig.
I mean, I cannot believe they're not playing the Wizards or the Jazz that they're favored by 6.5. They should not be favored against 6.5 against anybody. This is a team that has been, I guess the Sixers and them would be tied for the least, the most unimpressive or let you down the most if you're a fan. These two this year have been absolutely disasters. I mean, there was people out there that thought the Suns could win it all. There were people out there that thought the Sixers could win it all, and they're both not going to the, even the play-in tournament. So what do you like here? As any free play you like, Raphael, for tonight? Any little to sprinkle?
The Suns have beaten the Bulls, I think, in 10 straight games. So that's kind of interesting. And his number comes down. So if you like Knicks play, which I'm leaning towards, it's already 5.5 over at Caesars. And I think this number continues to go down because I think the betting public is going to probably want to fade KD and his boys. But I'm going to jump on a player prop bet in this game because I'm always giddy when I'm cashing tickets, and I love me some Josh Giddey over 17.5 points in this game. He has hit this in 9 straight games. Let me repeat this. 9 straight games I have cashed with Giddey total points. And now you tell me 17.5, which the guard play of Phoenix can't guard nobody. And now there's no, and the 2 injuries that Nick already said that the guard play for Phoenix is going to be shorthanded. I think Josh Giddey has another big game. His last road game against Miami, he put up 26 points. I like Josh Giddey as in this player prop bet. That's my free play over 17.5 points.
Yeah, your Bulls stole Josh Giddey because, it was a couple years ago that people thought this guy could be, borderline one of the next kind of budding superstars. And then he has that really bad playoffs. And then, it was just like bad PR, basically. Like he can't play.
It was PR
play.
more than bad playoffs.
Yeah, and then all of a sudden, they ship him out and they don't have to give up much. So I think the Bulls, and then when the Bulls got rid of Zach LaVine, it opened up even more minutes for him. So I like that play tonight. I got a little free play for you. The Grizzlies, I don't know what's wrong with them. I know they're injured, so you could always give them that excuse. But even when teams are injured, good teams, which I thought Memphis potentially could be or maybe was, you compete and you win when you guys are down. They have not looked good lately. And you're giving me the Blazers as a almost 5. I think it's a 4.5. I see some 4s out there as well, but we'll call it 4.5. I'm going to take the Blazers here. I think they can win this game outright. Portland has always been a tough place, even when they've been bad. It's a tough place to play. So I like Portland tonight. I think they win outright, but I'm going to take the 4.5 just in case. I got to get an opinion real quick, Nick, on if it's not one of your premium plays. I didn't look. I apologize. Pistons and the Heat. This Heat team has been, they were like, oh, it's Heat culture and all that. And all of a sudden, they trade away what they called a cancer. That team's winning and they're losing. It's not been good. And the Pistons have been hot. It's 5.5. The Heat are 5.5 point underdog at home. I kept looking. I was like, oh, they must all be out. Bam must be out. No, they're healthy. They've just been playing bad. Is this just like easy money? You just continue to fade the Heat?
I would stay away from the Heat, just the way the Detroit Pistons have been playing. They've been covering a lot of spreads too in the last month. This Heat team just hasn't been as consistent. You just have Tyler Hero there and obviously Bam. If you shut down one of those 2 guys, I don't know where their offense is going to come from. Like you said, they traded away Jimmy Butler, which probably wasn't a good idea now that Butler's over there at Golden State absolutely kicking butt and taking names. But I would fade this Miami Heat team right now as of late. I think the Detroit Pistons, they keep on keeping it on here on the offensive side, especially with Cunningham. This is a totally different Detroit Pistons team we're seeing as of late. So I like the Pistons here to cover in Miami. I'm fading the Miami Heat.
That Eastern Conference, everybody talks about the top 2, of course, Cavs and the Celtics. And then you'd like the Knicks, You don't know what Brunson injury. You don't know Bobby Portis is out for the Bucks. They don't have a lot of depth at the Bucks. So those have been the next two teams. But this is the next best team. And I don't think there's any one of those, the Knicks or any of those want to slide down and give this team in, because if they end up in the 4-5, I think they can win the first round. I do think they can win a first-round matchup if they get to that. Now, if they get past that, or if somehow, I think they might struggle. But this is a Pistons team that it's just like they've kind of figured it out. And Monty Williams, right, the coach, no, not Monty Williams. He was a coach last year, right? Who's the coach of the Knicks? Look it up. Someone look it up for me.
Tom Thibodeau, the Knicks, you talking about?
No, the Pistons. Is it Monty Williams?
I don't know.
I don't think so. Producer man, look that up.
Look that up. I think it's
He
Monty
should
Williams.
know. He's a Detroit fan and producer. Jeez.
All right, but they've done really well, and he got thrown. I'm pretty sure it's Monty Williams, and he got doused out. Oh, is it? Look it up. All right, let's talk college hoops until we get to it. The NIT last night, some mixed results. Yeah, it's Monty Williams. So Monty Williams was run out of the Suns. Look what happened there. Just saying. It's not always coaching. The NIT last night, Raphael, I want your pick on this as kind of from the book side of it. It is tough because the NIT didn't get the top teams this year because that crown stole some of those teams. So you have teams. I didn't even know this until right before game time, so we couldn't even talk about it on the show. Wichita State didn't know, and they didn't even get to practice before the game. They didn't know until late on Friday or late on Sunday night or Monday, and they had to travel. So they did not even get to practice one game, and it showed they got ran out. So as a bookmaker, is this danger? Because, people are now showing up to bet college basketball because the NCAA tournament's on the board for tomorrow?
No, because this is when you have limits. This is when you know what, we're only going to put a dime on this or a nickel on this and then just carry it over and just wish for the luck for Thursday and Friday. But yeah, some books got probably hurt yesterday, but some books probably did. A lot of UC Riverside money came in because we all know UC Riverside stole their bid for the NIT because they committed to CBI, and South Alabama said, we'll play the NIT. Then Riverside say, no, we're going to go into NIT. And South Alabama just stay at home watching the game. So everyone bet Riverside last night. So some money came in, but I don't play. I can tell you this right now. I don't play NIT games or CBI games for myself or for Doc Sports. It's just I'm not going to put my hard-earned money because maybe a kid's already thinking about his spring break or his name is already in a transfer portal. I'm not worrying about that. So I can tell you guys right now, for all your customers out there, don't expect any NIT plays from me or CBI. I just don't want to do it.
Yeah, years past, I love the NIT.
Oh, yeah, me too.
Not necessarily the first round because I was worried. Teams, worried about spring break. Some of them just came back from spring break, and I didn't miss spring break. Some of them were going on spring break. You had kids that were looking at transfer. I just think, but after game one, I feel like you get a more consistent effort. You know what teams are going to bring it or not bring it. But there's one game I want to ask you about. I hope one of you can give me an opinion on. Loyola Chicago has to travel all the way to San Jose, right? I thought Loyola Chicago was the better team, and I don't know, maybe they have scheduling conflicts. They're 3.5-point favorite, but that is an absolute haul. If they found out, I'm guessing late Sunday night or early Monday, they basically probably practiced and then had to get on a plane. This is crazy. I do think Loyola Chicago is the better team, but am I missing something here? That is a ridiculous travel at the last minute.
Yeah, I mean, that's crazy. Yeah, that's crazy that they had to do it in the last minute. And Loyola Chicago this year has been absolutely phenomenal at home. They play way different on the road than they do at home. So it's crazy. I don't know what this NIT and this other tournament is all about. I don't like it. I think it's kind of like a consolation prize, basically, for the teams that don't get in the tournament. And I, like Ralph said, I just try to steer clear from it because the playing games, the NCAA tournament, these guys are going to give it all they got, like the NIT, especially with the transfer portal. Now you don't know who's going to be playing or who's ready to go.
Dayton made sense. They're the better team, and they had to go on the road because the playing tournament's being played in Dayton. So that made sense. But I don't know enough about, Loyola Chicago. Maybe they already had something planned. Sometimes these gymnasiums get booked up or they're starting to upgrade the suites and they're already tearing things apart as soon as the last season was over. So that's been going on for a couple of weeks, so a week and a half. So I don't know, but it just seems like they were the much better team of having to go on the road. And in the NIT, you just never know because this is all put together at such a last minute. And this year, so many people got that notice and they're like, no, we're not going to NIT. And everybody's like, oh, they're not playing in the tournament. And then the news came out on Monday or Tuesday that all the Crown tournament teams, and you realize what happened is that, Cincinnati, Butler, Nebraska. I mean, it is the who's who. All the teams that would have been in the NIT are in the Crown tournament in Vegas, which we talked about yesterday. I do believe it's in between the Sweet 16 and the Final 4 week. So it's going to be an interesting, where they have this break. It's kind of like a bowl action where they're going to have to be off for a few weeks. So I think that's going to be fun to watch, though. But it's definitely affected the NIT. So do you have a free play for us, Nick, here for College Hoops today?
Yeah, let's look at the playing game between Mount St. Mary's and American U. American U sitting -2.5 here. The total is sitting at 129.5. Mount St. Mary's finished the season 22-12. They beat Iona to punch their ticket here for the playing game, while American U, they finished with the same exact record, 22-12, beating Navy. They're punching their ticket. Both of these teams average around 70 points per game, but the one stat that popped out in my eyes was this Mount St. Mary's team in their rebounds. They're currently ranked 52nd in the country here in rebounds, allowing for second chances on the offensive side. And let's not forget, this Mount St. Mary's team beat an ACC team this year in the Miami Hurricanes by 4 in Miami, 78-74 there. But this American U team plays defense here. They force about, on average, 10 turnovers per game. And in their championship game against Navy, they shot from the perimeter 44% here. If they could shoot between 35 to 40%, I think this game comes down in American U will beat Mount St. Mary's if they could shoot that high percentage from the perimeter. They play very tough defense, almost suffocating you when you got the ball. So I think American U covers this one, -2.5 over St. Mary's tonight, Craig.
Yeah, Alabama State last night. What a game. I hope people watch that game. I mean, the Hail Mary play, like at the end of every practice, both in high school and college, we ran the Hail Mary type play. We had actually one called home run as well. Basically the same thing they ran. And it never works. It never works. But we remember the Bryce Thru worked back in the NCAA tournament way back when. And then this one, it was, the right bounce. But I said yesterday, take the points because these playing the 16-game teams are usually unbelievably close games. Raphael, where's the money coming in on this one?
All on Eddie Murphy's team from Coming to America, American U. That's where all the money's coming in because that's what game he went to. Remember that scene? Kids who are watching this, Coming to America is a very old movie that Eddie Murphy made back in the 90s, people, 90s. But yeah, all the money's coming in American. And yesterday's game, that's not a buzzer beater because I did buzzer beater prop bets for a couple books, and they get, oh, how come I didn't cash on a buzzer? That's not a buzzer beater. So get over it. People know the rules on the word buzzer beater. But I think
0.7, right? Was 0.7 or 0.9 left after that?
Yeah, I think it's 0.7 if I have to look. But I can see now the money coming in on Xavier, Texas is more money, of course, than the first game. But there's no way Xavier, Texas money is going to surpass how much money came in on North Carolina, San Diego State money came in.
I think I'm interested in the Xavier Texas game. One of the reasons I was going to the game is I think whoever wins this game can win the next game. So I want to in person kind of feel this game. Xavier, were they just beating up on bad teams in the Big East? Because that's kind of what it looked like. On paper, if you look, the Big East just wasn't great this year. The top 3 teams were okay, or were pretty good. But after that, or 4 teams, I should say. But after that, I don't know. Or was Texas much better? If Texas won the Big East, would they be second? I don't know. I don't know because we saw how tough the SEC was. I just don't know. I think you got to take the points with Texas, especially. What's it up to 4 now?
3.5 some places.
3.5. So and if you like teasers, I think you take Texas in the teaser. I can't imagine Texas doesn't keep this within a few points. The Johnson kid, this, he's going to be a lottery pick. He's the best player in the court. And I always say in the NCAA tournament, if you usually bet with the best player on the court, you're probably going to at least be profitable because everybody knows, including the referees, who the best players are. And they, in the NCAA tournament, we always feature these guys. I mean, that's how your name's kind of built. Raphael, what do you like as a free play here for College Hoops? Anything?
I'm going to the NIT that we all know stands for not invited to the tournament. We're going to the late one. We're going to Northern Colorado, UC Irvine, under 151. Make sure you get the best juice. I saw minus 105 earlier today on that juice at minus 151. Let's face it, this Anteaters defense is unstoppable. They are. If it wasn't for them not making it a tournament, we would be talking about their defense. Their defense is almost as type as a Houston type defense. Their defense ranks 48th in the nation, holding opponents to 64 points per game. They've had to face a tough schedule. The Big West was not a sleepover. Yeah, Northridge was tough. You have can't try and think of the other team, San Diego, who I can't believe are 25-7 against the spread. They play on Thursday, so they've had to face a tough opponents. I just like the way their defense, their last 4 games, all following a loss, all 4 of them have gone under the total. I just think their zone defense and their pressure on the ball is going to be too much for Northern Colorado because does Northern Colorado really want to be there?
Like that Northern Colorado, like this is where I wish teams that won the regular season ended up in the tournament. Because, the best team only just hasn't – if you have one bad day in the conference tournament, in a small tournament, you're in the NIT, and that's where they're at. In fact, they get an automatic bid into the NIT if they want to accept if you win your conference league regular season. But Northern Colorado was the best team in that league all year long. So I kind of like the side in this one. I would probably take Northern Colorado here. It just seems like that's a lot of points. 7 points seems like a lot. I just, but it's all about, and this is why one of you said it, and we said it yesterday. The motivation on these kids is like, it's hard. It's just like early bowl season now. This is the way you have to treat the NIT first round is like, who wants to be there? Who's in the, like worried about their NIL package for next year, their transfer portal package, whatever. So I'm taking the points here in this one. But my better play in the NIT tonight, and this is just follow the line kind of play. UAB is the better team. If everybody plays, they should not be a 5-point underdog. This line's telling me something ain't right here. When that is the case, something ain't right. Take St. Joe's -5 in this one. I just think like UAB kind of threw their wad. They were up in the and they would have been in. And guess who would have been out? North Carolina. If UAB would have beat Memphis in that final. So I think UAB probably has some guys that maybe aren't going to play or maybe in the portal or something as such. I'm taking St. Joe's at home. I think they'll take care of business because the line should be a pick 'em in my opinion.
Yeah, their guard for UAB, Greg Gordon, he's in the transfer portal too. So that's why I think this line is heavily favored in St. Joe's -5.5. But St. Joe's beat Villanova, Texas Tech, Virginia Tech, and Dayton this year. They've played some pretty good teams. It wouldn't surprise me if they put a beat down on UAB here tonight.
This total moved to 8 points. It opened up at 151, this total, and it's now up to like 159.5.
Which is crazy. Usually when you think of their scorers out, you think, but the motivation to play defense.
Yeah.
Defense is want to. Like, it's somewhat, like how a coach teaches it and game plan and that kind of stuff. But it is want to. Like, can you get kids that want to play? They don't play defense on a regular basis, and now all of a sudden the guys start opting out and that kind of stuff. Like I said, be careful in these NIT games. I don't think you should be like putting down your hard-earned money on games that you don't even know who the kids are going to be playing for. You know what I mean? Like, what's the reason they're being played? So that's just my PSA. Where's the life lessons by Craig message that usually comes up about this time? So, yeah, there you go. I guess this could hold true for tomorrow, but I want to find out. There's some teams always, what I always call public, darlings, where Raphael, that we should probably get, say, 8 or 9 points. I think High Point is maybe one of those teams. Should be getting more points. And then all of a sudden, the media kind of, starts chatting them up, Jay Billis and the like. And then all of a sudden, the public starts playing them. Like, who's that team? Who are those teams this year? As far as the books are like, I can't believe we're like, these lines are moving down.
UC San Diego is probably one of them. A lot of love on all the media networks coming out just because of how they played and how they finished up on their conference, winning by double digits in conference play and at home, almost winning 90% of their games by double digits. So I think they're probably a lot of love. I'm trying to think of another team. Oh, the Terriers are getting a lot of love with the books. I mean, against
Yale?
Tennessee. You know what?
Because they won last year. You know, that's
Ivy League teams. I remember. We can go back. Me and Craig. Remember on Fridays was only Ivy League games playing on there, and it never generated action betting. There would be all that would be on the betting board for college. It'd be just Ivy League, and never get it. And still, Ivy Leagues do not attract betting action. It's almost like NHL on a big Wednesday when you have NBA. You're not going to get that betting action.
Well, Yale beat Auburn last year.
Yep.
And be careful this year because Yale's just as good this year. But it's like, you know, I always say that team the next year. I mean, FAU did it where they had that run, and then the next year they still won. But you have to be careful. Like going way back, Steph Curry and Davidson, they had a great run, and they followed up with a great run. But you have to be careful because, you know, just because you beat a team last year, like Auburn was a flawed team last year. They weren't quite ready for that big stage. That next year doesn't mean that team's going to do well. So just be careful with some of these. I always like teams that kind of nobody's talking about as underdogs because you get a better value, I feel like.
Grand Canyon's another team that people are talking about. You forget, I think that number opened up at 12, and it's already up to like 10.5 down. Everyone took the plus points with Grand Canyon. I mean, they've always had great coaches. Remember Dan Harley was their first head coach.
Yeah, if you haven't seen a Grand Canyon basketball game, not even just in person, but on TV, the fans are unbelievable. Like, I mean, they get there early. It's kind of like Wisconsin football, where it's like they get there so early and they practice cheering for the game. So when they're in the game, it's freaking ridiculous.
It's like almost a crowd of Savannah Bananas. It's like a AAA Savannah Banana game type of game.
Yeah, but it's very tough place to play because, I mean, it's like it's a big campus, so that's one thing that people probably don't know. It's a very big college, so it's not like, you know, the campus is 5,000 students and all of them come to the games. But when the ones that show up, man, do they bring it? So I expect I was at High Point on Monday for a college visit with my daughter. They are paying. This is a very wealthy school. They are paying for any student that wants to go. They're flying them and putting them up for the game.
Damn, really? That's nice.
So expect them to have a pretty big crowd. I mean, it's a super expensive school, so it's like it kind of makes sense. They're like, you know, this is their first NCAA tournament for the men. The women's have made it as well this year. But so, and then I was at North Carolina Duke same day. Duke, obviously, like, I mean, it's a buzz because we were at the bookstore because they won without Cooper and all that. But I was at North Carolina. It's like they're not, like they weren't even going to be playing because people were just so disappointed that they lost to Duke and that, you know, even though they made the tournament, it's kind of weird when you feel that when you're actually on these college campuses. I'm interested to see how Xavier shows up tonight when I'm up there, like, because it's so close. I mean, it's like some people would only be like 35 or 40 minutes if you're on the north side of Cincinnati. But even from the campus, it's like an hour and 5-10 minutes. So they should have a huge crowd advantage. But that doesn't always work, you know, like sometimes that doesn't work. So I would be remiss. Great hire by Indiana, by the way. DeVries from West Virginia. You're talking about an X and O's genius. And if he can do what he's done at Drake, 20 wins, 8 years in a row plus wins, that's what was not a powerhouse team. And then he did it in 1 year at West Virginia, completely built the team. His son, I'm guessing, is going to transfer with him, which he would have been the best player if he wasn't injured this year on West Virginia. Even the small was awesome. So great hire there. I'm interested to see what West Virginia does. Do they maybe go back to Bob Huggins?
Pat McAfee.
Like it's one of those, like, you're in the Big 12. It's a very good job, but it's not like, obviously, I mean, you leave in 1 year to go to Indiana. Like, that's not that top tier job. So do they go young and try to find an up and comer, or do they kind of, you know, like go back to like the older, you know, retread type coaches? I did hear, what's the guy who was at Georgia? Tom Crean is like, hey, I'm not done coaching. He said that on the network. So he's like putting his name out there. So maybe, you know, he gets, you know, like another chance at a somewhat big school. So good hire, though, by Indiana. It's always better when the good teams are good, you know, like the Blue Bloods. It's never good when those teams are bad. It's kind of like Nebraska football. I want Nebraska football to be better because, like, dude, back in the 80s and 90s, you could just depend that they were good every year. So I kind of hope that Indiana got it right this time. All right, let's get an NHL free pick for you, Nick, and give us a little gem here. I know there's not much here to play for, but
let's look at the Seattle Kraken, Minnesota Wild. Wild coming in heavy favorites, minus 155 on the money line. The total, though, is sitting at 5.5. Both of these teams in their last 10 games, they've had a losing record here, 4-5-1 for both teams. The Kraken just played Chicago last night, won that game 6-2, a lot of offense in that game, while the Wild, they won their last game against the Los Angeles Kings there, 3-1. The Kraken are coming in this game averaging 3 goals per game. The Wild are just under that, but they've had some time off here. This series is split 1-1 this year. I like the goals to be scored in this game. I think that the Minnesota Wild, especially with the Kraken's backup goalie here tonight, they'll score about 2 or 3 goals, and I think this over will hit at 5.5. So I finish at 6 or 7 goals here each time. And I will say this, in their last 4 meetings, each game has gone over 7 goals total. So I like the over here, 5.5 against the Seattle Kraken and the Minnesota Wild tonight, Craig.
There you go. So we got a little NHL action. We talked about college basketball, but here, the new member, welcome, Picture Life. If you want to test us out, some of the best ways to do it is here are YouTube Premium and Premium Plus. Premium, you get Indian Cowboys, a couple of his leans every day. And then you actually, if you go to the Premium Plus, it's $49.99. The link is in the description. You'll get level 1. You'll get the Indian Cowboy plus 3 expert picks. And I pick them. Right now I do the video. Hopefully we're working for another host, but I pick them from 3 different cappers every day. And I usually try to find, some of the hottest guys. It's 2, 3, or 4 unit plays. So it's never our 5, 6, 7, 8, game of the year type stuff, but it's solid plays. And we've got 3 up tonight. So join in. It's very simple. It's $49.99 a month. It's about $1,000 worth of picks if you paid $30 per sport per day. So that's 90 times, 30 plus you get the Indian Cowboy stuff as well. So make sure you get in on that. Click the link in the description. Tomorrow, we'll be back at 1 o'clock tomorrow. Now, this is probably going to be some of the best
basketball tomorrow.
Some of the best video, because I'm going to turn my thing. So obviously we can't show the games because we don't own the rights.
Yeah, it might be far early tomorrow.
I wish we owned the rights so that I could stream the games and talk about them as they're going on. But tomorrow's show, we're going to be quicker. It's only going to be 10 to 15 minutes because we're just going to give the picks, boom, 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 and get back to watching the game. So make sure, if you haven't done so, tomorrow we'll have Robert Ferrigno on, the king of college hoops there, and he'll be talking some stuff. We'll talk about the early games that are kind of going on, and then, of course, most of the free plays will be on the late games, so that way you can still get on them. So don't forget to like and subscribe, and make sure put the link we'll put the link in the description and pin it. Get to the playlist here at YouTube where you can get all the college hoops plays. We cover every game, so make sure you check that out. And, have a great day. Hope all your bets are winning ones. Remember, PSA announcement, go slow and low tonight in the NIT. There is some funky stuff going on in the NIT this year, even more than usual. So have a great day. Use that free 60 to get in and on if you're a new customer, and we'll see you again tomorrow.